Jaundice in newborns. It's a pretty common health condition in babies. Source of anxiety to mothers, of course, expectedly. So, to understand the condition better and to find out how it can be managed, I have Dr. Seriam Wadri. She is a pediatrician at Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the CEO of Baby, Child and Co. You can find them on Instagram. But she's here with me live. Seriam, hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good to have you here.
Good to have you.
First of all, let's talk about jaundice and then why and how come it appears in newborns.
Newborns, a baby born from birth till 28 days. So jaundice in a newborn is yellow discoloration of the skin and then the white of the eyes of any baby who is a newborn. A lot of it is caused by changes that happen when a baby is born. The environment in the womb is different from the environment outside. So the process of adapting to life outside causes some of the jaundice. So that's how come it's so common. About half of all babies will develop jaundice. But it is the degree that varies. So like I said, because it's caused by, say, the change in the baby from when the baby was in the womb and then when the baby is now outside, lots of babies are getting it. But then there are other things that can make it worse or even make it appear if that baby wasn't going to have it already. We're talking about things like infection, poor feeding or dehydration, a baby who is born to a mother with whom there are some blood group incompatibility issues, and then there are some hormone problems that may cause it as well. But vast majority is just caused by the change in environment when the baby was in the womb and then the baby comes outside. Yeah.
And is that common? 1 in 2 babies?
It's common. A lot of times you may not be able to recognize it if you don't have a trained eye or if you were not looking for it. But the severe ones are the ones that is easy to pick. The problem is that sometimes by the time you pick it, it's so severe that the baby is in danger. Yeah, but it's common. It's even commoner in preterm babies. About 80% of all preterm babies will develop jaundice, whereas about, say, 60% of the term babies will develop jaundice.
And is it as simple as just seeing that this baby looks yellow, or are there other simple tests you can press some part of the skin to find out, hey, what's happening here? How do you check?
With the very mild one, so that's when maybe you are pressing parts of the skin and you are running labs to see. But if it's severe, you should be able to see. The thing is that, you know what we do? When our babies are born, we keep them indoors till they are outdoored. So indoors is usually dark and you are not able to see well. So when there's mild jaundice and the baby is indoors, you don't see well, so you don't recognize it. It's when the baby becomes really yellow that everybody can see that this baby is jaundice. And sometimes at that time, it's already late. So that practice is something that we have to look at. When your baby is indoors yet to be outdoors, you have to make sure that you look at the baby in natural sunlight at least twice a day, or even if it's once a day. You look at the baby's eyes, you look at the skin very well. Sometimes the baby is yellow, but people think that this is a fair baby, so they don't do anything about it. Yeah, but because it's so common, you should anticipate and look out for it, so that when you see it, then you can get help.
Do pregnant mothers told that it's likely that your baby may have this, so just be on the lookout, so when the baby comes out, then at least they know what to look for?
We keep saying it, but yes, we keep saying it, but I think that we should say it more, because I saw a recent study that said 9 out of 10 pregnant women in Accra don't know what causes it. So it's like we say it, but maybe we are not saying it enough, and we say it, but there's still more awareness to be created about it. Yeah.
What are the severe consequences of not detecting jaundice in babies, newborn babies?
The most tragic is death. Your baby can die because when it's mild, it's very easy to treat. Once it's severe, then it becomes very difficult to treat. And sometimes, even by the time we see the babies, the jaundice or what causes the jaundice has already crossed into the baby's brain. Then the baby may die, or if the baby doesn't die, they can get severe disabilities, deafness, they grow up with epilepsy, they are unable to walk, they don't do well in school, mother has to carry this baby at the back almost all the baby's life. So, I mean, those are very, very dire consequences of not reporting early. And mostly the not reporting early is because we are unable to pick it. And then again, there are these things that persist in our culture. People think that, because the eyes are yellow, people think it's an eye thing. So they keep the baby at home and then they buy antibiotic drops and they are putting on the eye, or they squirt breast milk into the eye. It's not really an eye thing. It's just because that part of the eye is white. So when it's colored yellow, you see it's better. The skin is also colored yellow, but a lot of times the eye is what comes to our attention. So these things that we do make us not seek help early. Yeah, and then they don't come early, and sometimes when they come, then it's already too late. And that.
So tell us about the link between breastfeeding and neonatal jaundice.
So the body has a way of clearing the jaundice. You see, so sometimes when a baby has a mild jaundice, you may not even notice, and then it just clears on its own. The way of clearing the jaundice that the body has is that it comes out through the baby's poo. Yes. So, I mean, this doesn't mean that when your baby is jaundiced at home, it will come out through the poo, because it depends on the level of the jaundice, and it depends on what is causing it. So if what is causing it is more aggressive than how the baby is passing it out, then that baby will continue to be jaundiced despite going to toilet. Yeah. So the body clears it through the poo, and when you start to breastfeed your baby early, they pass the poo early. So when they pass poo repeatedly, it helps with the clearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And should a mother be concerned about the color of the poo to say, okay, alarm bell, something is happening to my baby? Is there a kind of color that you're looking for?
Yes. There's one of the rare causes of jaundice that needs to be treated by surgery or operation, as we call it. Yes, that one is biliary atresia. And that one, you see that, when the babies are born, their stool is dark green. We call that one the meconium. And then it changes to yellowish. So in biliary atresia, you will find that the poo doesn't become yellowish. It becomes pale. It's almost like clay.
Wow.
So that's one of the things too, that if you find that your baby is passing poo and it's so pale, you know that should come to hospital. And with that one, is treated by surgery only at a certain time. When a period has elapsed, then they can't do anything for the baby. It's just about supporting the baby, making the baby comfortable, and so on and so forth. So yeah, if your baby's poo from dark green, it should go to yellow or yellowish, golden yellow kind of, yes. So when it gets to the time that you think it should change, and the stool continues to be pale, that is a cause of concern.
Okay, so give some tips to a newborn who may be, what should she be looking out for to suspect that my child may have newborn jaundice or neonatal jaundice and I need to go to the hospital?
The mother should just know that it's likely to happen, first of all. And then every single day, make sure you look at your baby in good light. Sunlight is better. Make sure that you look at your baby's eyes, your baby's skin. And then when your baby is not feeding or started feeding and then begins to feed poorly, that's a sign that the baby is sick. And sickness or illness, infections can worsen the jaundice. So once you notice that your baby is feeding poorly, then the baby has to go to hospital. Once you notice that your baby is febrile or hot, the baby has to go to hospital. Unfortunately, in newborns, there's this thing that they do. When they are sick, they can be very hot, or when they are sick, they can be very cold. So any change that you are not sure of, it's better you take your baby to hospital, and then if there's no problem, you are reassured than wait it out and just 1 or 2 days see what is happening. Babies are very delicate. One day can make a difference, and then you come in and it's like it's too late. So that is something that should be watched out for as well.
Okay, if you just joined us, I'm here with Dr. Sariam Wadwi. She's a pediatrician. We're looking at neonatal jaundice, so jaundice in newborns, and the number for you to send your questions, if you have any, if you're a fresh mom and you're watching us with a baby in the corner or in your lap somewhere, and you're wondering, give us a WhatsApp, 055-556-1034, 055-556-1034. So mommy takes baby to the hospital to come and see somebody like you or other pediatricians. how do you manage the condition? How do you deal with it?
We take a history, like get a lot of information from you, and then we examine the baby. We may run some tests or not, because visually when you look, you can see that this baby is jaundiced, but how we manage the baby depends on the level. So sometimes we need to run a test to see the level, or even series of tests, because one, we know we run a test, or we know the baby is jaundiced, but sometimes we need to also find out what is causing it, because when you deal with what is causing it, then you are more likely to succeed. So tests may be done for the baby. Now, when the jaundice is not so severe, we just manage it with lights. That's called phototherapy, photo light. Yes, so we have blue lights that we use to manage the babies who have jaundice. But if the jaundice is severe, then the light may not work fast enough. So we need to do something that we call exchange transfusion. Basically, the jaundice is in the baby's blood. So what we do is that we remove the baby's blood in bits and replace it with blood that doesn't have jaundice. So we are sort of diluting the jaundice in the baby's system.
Who is providing the blood? Whose blood is that?
So it's just like a blood transfusion. So it's a donor blood from somewhere that is screened. You know, we screen all blood and so on. We make sure that it is compatible with the baby, and then the mother as well. In the case of newborns, it's always must be compatible with the mother as well, and then we use it for that. Yeah, that we don't really want to do that.
But you've done such procedures in your experience as a pediatrician.
Several, but we really don't want to do that. That is why it's better if the babies come early, because when you come early, it's light, and then it gets better. Sometimes the babies are given antibiotics, because if it's an infection, then that has to be dealt with. And so, yeah. And if it's a problem with feeding, then we teach you how to feed. We supplement. Maybe we are giving a drip or something like that, until you can get the hang of the feeding. So we do all those things. But we don't want it to get to exchange transfusion.
Okay. So the photo therapy is where the baby has some light over it. Yeah. And how long will that therapy take? It
depends on what is causing the jaundice and then the severity of the jaundice. So we have the lights on, but if what is causing the jaundice is still causing it, but if we have the lights on and then what is causing the jaundice has stopped, then it takes fewer days. So it really depends on several things.
Okay. And the idea of the light is to do what? To break down what?
So the light changes the jaundice again. Actually, it's called bilirubin. You know, it's the look is the jaundice, but what is causing it is bilirubin. Yes. So the light changes the bilirubin into a form that can be easily passed out. Yeah. Okay. So it makes it faster to pass out.
And is it the bilirubin that causes the eyes to be yellow and the skin to be yellow? Sometimes even the inside of the mouth.
Yes. The whole body can be yellow. Yes, but the parts that are obvious are the white of the eyes, because obviously it's white, and then the skin. But the whole body, tongue, everywhere is. In severe jaundice can be yellow.
Please don't be thinking that I have a white baby, it could be jaundice, you know. So please make sure that you seek the right care. As you said, a day could be too late. You could have brain damage. Your child could die in the worst case scenario. Okay, and then this blood transfusion option that you talked about that you don't want to get to. What happens when you have a parent who says, listen, for religious reasons, we don't do blood transfusions? What's going to happen?
It's very traumatic for us and the parents, the family as a whole, because, you know, the families too, they love the babies. The religious reasons why they do this, when you go into it, it's about the child going to a place that is comfortable, heaven, and so on and so forth. So they love the babies. We also love the babies. It's very difficult for us. But you see, at the end of the day, every child born in Ghana belongs to the state, and we need to act in the best interest of the baby. So that is something that we don't want to happen. So just bring the baby early, light, then it's better. But when it gets to blood transfusion, unfortunately, despite how much love the parents have for the baby and all that, a child belongs to the state. And we go the way of the state, and the state says that, the law says that the best interest of the child should be paramount in anything that we do. And the best interest of the child is to make sure that the child lives. So that is where we go.
So you overrule the wishes of the parents?
Yes. Okay. And we don't just, it's not a simple thing. We don't just get up and say, no, we are going ahead. I mean, we want the parents to agree with us. So we have a lot of talking, people come in, and so on and so forth. And then you have to involve your hospital lawyer, and you actually need to be backed by the courts. But ultimately, every child belongs to the state, and the best interest of the child is paramount. The child, I mean, we speak for the child, and we say this child must live. Yeah.
In your experience, you've had such situations? Wow.
Several.
And have the procedures been successful?
Yes.
And then what do the parents who resisted the transfusion, after you've saved the baby with the
you see, that is why we don't. That is why we don't want to get there, because we don't want to have a child. A child lives in a family, and it's not only about the treatment we give to the child today. After all, it's the family that's going to take care of the child. So, I mean, what if we do it and the family says, okay, this child is tainted, we don't want the child again. So we don't want to get there. And worst case scenario, when we get there, at least we want the parents to reach a compromise with us, but not for us to say court says, government says, and then we go ahead. We don't want to get it. But if we do get there, the child belongs to the state.
Child belongs to the state. Okay, so these are a couple of questions coming in. 055-556-1034. That's our WhatsApp number. By now, you should have saved your phone. Okay, we've been doing this show now. This is our 93rd episode. You should save this number on your phone. Okay, so this is a question from Menahanta Francobab. I love this name, of New Edibias. He says, good morning, Honorable Calf, and your guest, Dr. Wadri. Please, is jaundice only evident in the skin or eye color change? And what's the prevalent cause of it? Are there any foods that cause the jaundice in the newborn babies?
So newborn babies, we know that they are only eating breast milk, or, well, we don't like it, but formula. And there is, most of the time, like I've said, it's physiological. It's a change from womb to outside. That's the predominant cause. But there are some very, very, very rare causes of jaundice. In a very, very rare case of jaundice, you could find that it is breast milk that causes it. But that is very, very, very rare. We want our babies to be breastfed, because that one is very, very rare. And the predominant causes are the ones that I've mentioned already. Okay. Then there is camphor, which is not a food, but it's something, naphthalene balls, whitish thing that, people put it in their water so it tastes nice. People put it in their wardrobe to ward off cockroaches and moths and then a bag. Yes. There are some babies that have a problem with an enzyme, something in the blood we call G6PD. If the baby does not have G6PD and the baby doesn't even need to have the camphor to come into their mouth, just in contact with the cloth that you use to hold the baby, that can cause jaundice. And the kinds of jaundice that those ones cause tend to be like quite aggressive. So because you don't know when your baby is born, you don't know whether that baby lacks G6PD or not, it's best that you avoid camphor in your home. Antenatally, when women are pregnant, we test the mothers for the G6PD defect. So some may know, but some may not know. Again, it's a lab test. So, there are all these uncertainties. So it's just better that when you have a newborn baby, you don't keep camphor anywhere in your house, because that can cause it as well.
What are people putting camphor in their water for?
I think it gives it some taste or something. Yeah.
Is it not dangerous?
It's dangerous.
My people, stop the camphor business, man. You can't be putting camphor in your water. Water is water. So we've got a message here from Abiola in Keta, 055-556-1034. He says we've just made his day with this program. It's very educative. Parents need to be very observant about their newborn babies. Dr. Seriam, what do you thank you? God bless you. We need you through Facebook as well. Well, you can follow her on Baby Child and Co. on Instagram and on Facebook as well. So Baby Child and Co. on Facebook and Instagram. Follow Ghana Broadcasting Corporation to while you're also doing it, okay? So that you can get all the information that you need. More messages coming in, 055-556-1034. Thank you very much. So basically you've done that, and you've told us how the newborn jaundice is treated. Can it come back? After phototherapy, can the jaundice recur?
That is why when you are treating the jaundice, you need to treat what is causing the jaundice as well. So, for instance, if it's a baby who is feeding poorly, you need to correct that poor feeding. If it's an infection, you need to correct the infection. There is some blood group incompatibilities as well. Well, that's one, it has already happened. But whatever is causing the jaundice, if it's some hormone problem, you need to correct it. Because if you don't correct it, the light is just removing the jaundice. But if what is causing it is still happening, then the jaundice is forming and the light is removing it, and it becomes a race. Which one is faster?
All right. So complete treatment. This is a question from Navrongo. Can neonatal jaundice be transferred from one child to another if there's eye contact? I mean, one child looks at another child and then zoom, like Bluetooth?
No, not like Bluetooth.
It can't be tracked.
No.
It can't. Yeah. Well, these are good questions.
But, you know, there's this thing that we sometimes see in twins. And it's because they share the bed and they share the mother, they share everything. So when one twin is sick, because they are in so close contact, the other twin can get sick as well. Okay. So let's say this jaundice is caused by an infection in, say, the first twin. The second twin can also get the infection.
Why? In solidarity or what?
It's because they share everything.
Okay.
You know, babies, they are so fragile. Their skin is thin, things pass through and so on. Same mother handling them. So when that's a possible scenario that I can think of, but not because
no eye contact. No eye to eye contact for any jaundice. Doesn't happen like that. Thank you for your question, though. So this is a Kalamulai in Kumasi. Please, my eyes should be yellow. I don't know whether if I have jaundice. I'm 30 years old. Can I treat it, and how can I get a cure? So he says his eyes are yellow. He doesn't know whether it's jaundice.
So if it is yellow, then it is jaundice. But the things that cause jaundice in older people are a bit different. There's some overlap, but they're a bit different from what causes it in newborns. Yeah, so he needs to go to hospital, obviously, to have it treated. In older people, we also have GCPD, like I've said, in the newborns, but then a lot of people also have sickle cell disease, and then there's chronic liver disease. There are many things in the adult population. So if your eyes are yellow, it is jaundice. You need to go to hospital.
All right. And so, Mehanan, Franco has just explained to me why you call it G6PD, because the full thing is quite long.
Yeah.
Glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. I think I prefer G6PD. Thank you very much. 055-556-1034. Your questions are coming in. You want to know, well, Sampa Husseini from Samini in the East Mamprusi district probably joined us a little bit later. You can watch the feed again when we are done, but he wants to know brief causes before we go. Causes of this jaundice. What are the brief causes?
Changes from the womb to the outside, majority causes, infections, poor feeding or dehydration, some problems in the way the baby's liver is formed. These are the rare ones I'm now talking about. Some hormone problems. Like I also mentioned GCPD, which is really an enzyme, yeah. And then some incompatibilities between the mother and the baby. So that one is screened for.
Mother has one blood type, the baby has a different blood type.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's because the baby is getting the blood type from the father, yeah. So that one is screened for antenatally. We call that one resource. It's very aggressive. It can be fatal. That one is screened for antenatally. If antenatally the woman has a blood group which is anything negative, a negative blood group, something is supposed to be done to her after any bleeding during the pregnancy or after delivery, so that it protects the other babies.
All right. There's a question here. Does neonatal jaundice have any relationship with sickle cell disease? And any link? So
sickle cell disease does not manifest its symptoms in neonates. It takes a longer. The babies grow up about 4 to 6 months before they begin to show their symptoms, because babies have a blood hemoglobin type that is a bit different from the adult type. So it's when the switch happens to adult type that people who have sickle cell disease begin to manifest their symptoms, and that's later, like 6 months ongoing. Some neonates may have sickle cell disease later, but it doesn't show us when they are. So yeah.
But people are bombarding you with questions. I'll give you a couple more before you go.
Questions.
So Mary says, my cesarean baby was placed under the blue light for about a week. How safe is this for her future?
It's very safe for the future, if that is all there is to it. Baby had jaundice, had phototherapy. Very safe, very, very safe.
Okay, great. What would you say in conclusion, Sarah, as we wrap up this conversation on jaundice in newborns? What do you want to tell mummies?
What I want to tell mummies is that most babies get jaundice. So look for it in your newborn. If you don't look for it, you may find it when it is late. Because when it's so much and the baby is not feeding, baby is sick, then you will know baby is sick. But we don't want babies to come to us when they are sick. Because they come so late, about 1 out of 10 babies we see with jaundice die. And this need not be the case. So this thing that I'm talking about, the jaundice crosses into the brain. In some countries, I have colleagues working there, they've not seen that before.
Strange to them.
Yes, it's strange, totally strange to them. And it is because, I mean, their awareness is there, they look for the jaundice and then they treat it. But when you don't think about it, when you don't look for it, then you are bringing your babies late. And even if we save them, sometimes they have severe disabilities.
Okay, I wish I could ask more questions, but Charles Boachi, please send all your questions to Baby Child and Co. on Instagram. Is that not so? And Facebook as well. Baby Child and Co. And Sarah will answer all your questions. It's a promise from her to you. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot this morning. And Dr. Sariam Wadri is a pediatrician with Kolebu Teaching Hospital. She's also the CEO of Baby Child and Co. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook and send all your questions.